Hey guys, it's time to unbox my new Positive Grid Spark 40 digital amp, guitar interface, Bluetooth speaker, and hair dryer. So first of all, safety first, I've got my Mastercraft box cutter knife, which I can never get open, and I'm just going to take the little tip out a bit here just so I just cut through the tape. It came double wrapped. I am in Canada. I have friends in the States who ordered the product same time as me and they haven't received theirs yet. So I don't know where these are getting shipped from, but it's interesting that I got mine first. Okay, so it's open. Okay, it's unpacked. See you later. No, so inside we've got a bunch of foam. Useful. We've got a box. Inside the box, it looks like there's a power cable, USB cable, one of these wall wart power supply things, a redeem card, assume that's for some software, and a quick start simple instruction guide, and then a box that you can use for something else. So I'll put that aside and we'll just lift this thing out. Nicely packaged, more foam on the bottom, and you can see it's in a foam bag as well. With children, it is not a toy. You notice my hat, by the way. And here it is. Smells like new electronics. So, right away, things I notice, it's a pretty looking thing. It's got a faux leather handle. It weighs maybe about 12 pounds, 13 pounds, so it feels substantial but not super heavy. Pretty intuitive controls across the top. We've got something I guess chooses which amp model you want, gain, bass, mid, treble, master, mod, which I assume controls modulation effects, delay, reverb, and output. So we've got a gain, a master, and an output, which is interesting. I'm sure there's a reason for that. Place for headphones to plug in, music volume, which I think is for backing tracks or other things you may be playing background music you might put through it. On the back, looks like there's a spot for auxiliary audio in, Bluetooth, USB, and power. So I'm just going to pause for a minute and then I'm going to, so I'm continuing to try to go through what the experience would be if you just unpack this amp. So I haven't yet, I've got the app on my phone, but I haven't actually done anything with it yet. Because the first thing you're going to want to do is just plug your guitar into it and see what it sounds like. So this is actually my third attempt to record this part of the demo because I keep discovering that I'm wrong about assumptions I'm making about how this thing works. So let's try again. So as I said, the basic layout of this thing is that there are seven different amp models ranging from acoustic and bass to metal. There are also 4 saved presets that you can do to quick access your favorite sounds. I had thought these things interact, but in fact they don't. So the last abortive attempt to record this, I was trying to show how there was 4 different clean settings and 4 different, no, they're not. They're just 4 different saved presets that you can access. I'm sure that those are things you set up using your phone. So if you've got 4 sounds that you like to dial in, you can just quickly access those there. I'm liking the amp a lot. I've played with it a little bit while I've been trying to figure out how it works. And right off the bat, I noticed it's got, for such a small enclosure, it's got a ton of bottom end. And a very rich, sort of 3-dimensional full sound that I like. Let's just try and show you some of these settings. So I'm going to set up things that I think are going to work on each of the settings, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. First of all, let's start with a clean channel. And I'm going to put in a little bit of chorus, and a bit of delay, and a fair amount of reverb. And I'm just going to play some chords on the neck pickup of my Anderson. Turning up the treble a little bit. It's really nice. It's the reverb is quite good. I don't know what chord that is. I didn't mean to play that. I like it. So that's it. That's a sample clean sound that you might use if you're playing around. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is called. It's a weird title. What is it again? Glassy. And I've figured out that what glassy means is a modest gain, slightly crunchy, what I would call crunch. So it's like a Keith Richards kind of rhythm guitar sound. Once again, there's just too much bass, so I'm going to roll that off. I'll take the delay down a bit because that's a little bit much. Like, apparently that's glassy. There's still too much bass. Bring the gain down a bit. So, yeah, nice rhythm. Low. Once again, being in the room with it, I'm impressed with how full sounding it is. Now we'll try the crunch. So if that was glassy, I'm a little frightened of what crunch is going to sound like, but let's see. Again, I'll keep the bass low. I'll dial back in a little more delay again and see what we get here. Too much reverb. The glassy and the crunch are definitely cousins. I don't know what amps they're meant to model. I guess I'll find out when I play with the app, but they're cousins. I'm not sure what kind of amp that's supposed to emulate. It doesn't sound like a Marshall. There's a ton of compression. More than I would use. So that's something I'll definitely play with once I get the app going. Then let's try the high gain. I'll laugh because that's not really the kind of player I That's a ton of gain. I'm in the mid range of the gain setting. And now if I switch to metal, so that's, without tweaking anything, that's kind of an overview of what it's like. It's just out of the box, plugged in and go. Next, I'm going to record something where I've played with the app a little bit and dialed in my own sound a bit. See you later. Hey, so I spent about 20 minutes, I downloaded the application and I spent about 20 minutes playing with it. Again, so this is still very much on the learning curve, but I want you to get a sense of what it's like, your first half hour with this device is going to be like. So quite easy to, first of all, oddly enough, there's a card in the package with a QR code on it that does not take you to the place to download the app. You have to go to the App Store or Google Play and download, just search for Spark Positive Grid Amp app or something and it downloads. And then you can log in using your email address or Facebook, however you want to synchronize it, and you're in. And then quite easy to do a Bluetooth connection and you're up and going. So here's how it works. This is tied in intrinsically to the device. So as I switch through different channels on the amp, you see the hardware, you see the different, what pops up is all the settings that are set for that particular patch, including all the effects. There are 6 slots for effects. You have a noise gate, a compressor, a boost, then the amp, then modulation, delay, and reverb. You can't play with a sequence of those things. You can't have more than 6 apps or 6 effects, at least that I can figure out yet, going at the same time. So you can't do things like stack boost pedals and that kind of stuff on it, at least not out of the box. But like I said, there might be ways to do that later. And so what this means, though, for me in my first 20 minutes, I've discovered quite quickly that I can, if there are things that I don't like about one of these patches out of the box, I can play with it. So I think I mentioned before that in the crunch, which sounds like this, I don't like all that compression. It's just too squishy for me. So I just open the app. There's a little red box for a compressor, and I just touch it and turn it off. And voila. It's much better. That delay's driving me crazy, so I'm going to turn that down some more. So it's nice. It's quite flexible and intuitive to play with. Just to show you how another one of them works, here's the booster. I've just got a simple clean booster leading into this amp, which apparently is a symbol of a model of a JTM 45. And I'll just bring the gain up some more on it, and you'll see. And then I can bring it down just by sliding my finger, and it cleans up. So it's quite intuitive to play with. I will tell you that in my 20 minutes of playing with it, somehow my phone and the device got out of sync. The amp stopped making any kind of sound whatsoever. I have no idea what I did to make that happen. So I powered the amp down and I powered it up, and then it took a little while for it to synchronize up again, and then now it's working normally again. So that might have been user error. I might have done something that you shouldn't, or maybe there is a glitch in the software that I've found. I'll report back on that later. So I think that gives you an overview of sort of first experiences with the Positive Groove Spark amp. My overall impression is that it's a great practice tool. The things I haven't got into yet is music. So I can, there are all kinds of backing tracks. There's something that has my interest right now that just popped up. Artist of the Month, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And it looks like there's a backing track called Voodoo Vamp. Oh, we're in E flat, of course. It's Stevie Ray. So it says, this is a 1-chord vamp. This means no chord changes, which means you have to create rhythmic interest. So that's kind of a fun practice tool. So I just stumbled across this just by accident. Let's see what other cool stuff there is in here. There are different genres, so I can select pop, rock, funk, or blues. Let's see what's in funk. Quick funk jam. I expect there's a way I can change the tempo. Yes. So there's a little place if I want to slow it down. It seems a little fast to me, so let's take it down. How do I do that? And I found out this little knob, what it does, it controls the volume of the backing track. That's certainly not a guitar sound I'd use for this track. Now, what I'm also interested in is this smart jam thing. So while you watch, first of all, let me stop this thing. See if you can watch me figure out how the smart jam works, like the learning, where it's supposed to learn my chord changes. You got your timers out? See how long it takes me to figure it out. Yeah, so here's what happened. I hit pause on the machine, on my computer, recording the video, and then immediately noticed a big red button. It says create. Gee, I wonder if that's for creating your own jam track, smart jam track. And lo and behold, I push that button, and up comes 2 friends to play with. Dave and Sharon. Dave is a rocker. He likes to hit hard with his foot, and he keeps a good steady beat. And the bass player he's coupled with, or maybe he's the bass player, I don't know. It doesn't explain how one person creates bass and drums. But anyway, he plays more simple straight ahead rock stuff. Sharon is more kind of funky R&B, ornate kind of bass player / drummer. Now, both Dave and Sharon apparently had some kind of tragic accident with psychedelics in their youth. And as a result, their short-term memory is very short. So they will, you can play any song you want and they'll figure out the chords and come up with a cool groove for it, so long as it's only 8 bars long. And as soon as they get to the end of 8 bars, they just play that same pattern over and over again. So this is not like a looper where you can, have different sections and combine them all. This is just a simple 8-bar repetitive pattern, but it's still pretty cool. So I'm gonna jam with Sharon, and I'm just gonna play the chord progression for one of my favorite songs to play at gigs, which is "Slow Turnin'" by John Hyatt. It's a simple progression. It's fun to play, and let's see what Sharon does with it. So I'm gonna hit "Let's Jam," and then up comes a screen where I can tap the tempo. So let's try that. There we go. So 120. Sound about right? So let's start, and it's going to give me a 4-beat count in, and then it's going to allow me to play my progression for 8 bars, and then it's just going to play on. It's going to give me I'll show you. Let's just do it. Okay, so now it says it's composing, and here it is. And if you look, it shows the chords you just played, just in case you don't know what they are. And it tells you where you are and what the changes are, and it's come up with a cool, funky little bass line and drum part. Hap Roderman, you're fired. This bass player's way better. I'm kidding. All right, so let's go to a lead patch. That'd be fun to play with this. Let's go to this one, not too much gain. And I'll just play along for a minute. And it's fun because you can use this just in this era, because I'm recording this video in the summer of 2020. So everything's locked down. There's no gigs, and I'm hardly playing with any musicians. And I miss it. So tools like this are great for this. Whoa. And it'll just keep doing that, and you can just keep playing along and wank all you want and annoy other people in your house and all that stuff. So overall impressions of the Spark amp. The amp, let's get it in more in the picture here. It's not about me, it's about the amp. There it is. The Spark amp is a pretty cool little amp. It sounds great. It's cheap. It looks nice. You can put it in your living room, and your girlfriend or wife or parents or grandchildren, or depending how old you are, aren't going to yell at you because it's nice looking. It's got this little piping here. It also functions as a Bluetooth speaker, so you can use it as an appliance in your house instead of that awful Google Home speaker thing that has no bass. And I bet you it sounds great. I haven't tried it yet, but I bet it's good because there's a lot of bottom and it's quite rich. It's quite a flexible amp. I haven't found any real weaknesses in terms of the flexibility of the different models that are on it. It's quite easy to just plug into it and start playing, but it's also got these jamming tools where there are a gajillion backing tracks in different genres, so you can spend your time working out kinks in your technique or learning songs or having different approaches to how you play over things and work on that too. So I don't know, there's not much to fault it with. Yeah. So that's my first impression, first half hour with it kind of review of the Spark Positive Grid 40. Take care, everybody. Be safe, and we'll see you soon.